So I turned an old Samsung S20 into a tiny desktop running Samsung DeX. It's compact, it's cheap, and it's surprisingly capable, and it was built in an hour. So let's take a look. So I managed to pick up a Samsung S20 for £35, which is pretty good. It's got the Exynos 990 processor, 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gig storage, and it also has space for an SD card. The good old days. So in this video I'm going to go through what it looks like, what it can do, and how you can do it. So I found this Raspberry Pi 5 case on Amazon, which was a perfect size. Also, after a little bit of searching, managed to find the perfect USB-C hub that had good connections and would do everything that I require. So the hardest part of the build was basically getting everything fitted in. So as we can see, we've got our USB-C hub at the bottom, we've got power buttons on the front, we've got the battery for the phone itself with the motherboard on the top, and then a nice powerful USB-C fan to cool it. The battery and motherboard are separated by some perspex, and you can also slide out where the SD card goes if you want to expand the memory. And I've got a nice thermal pad on top of the motherboard connected to the USB-C fan to aid with the cooling. So let's give it a test. So you just hold the power button down for about 5-6 seconds, and then it takes a couple of seconds to boot up. And then you'll see the fan starts, and we've got a power light on the USB-C hub, which means we've turned on. We just need to plug in a HDMI connection, plug that into your TV, and then when you look at your TV, it will automatically display onto DeX. Just plug a mouse and a keyboard in, and you're ready to go. Next, we want to sync up a controller. So I'm going to get my PlayStation 5 controller. So we go into settings, we want to go into the Bluetooth settings, and then this will start picking up. So on a PlayStation 5 controller, you hold the share button and the PlayStation controller button, and it will start flashing. Once it's flashing, that's in pairing mode. And then just go back to your Bluetooth settings, give it a refresh, and then it will show up straight away. Just click on that. Click on pair or connect, and then you're good to go. It connects instantly, and then as you can see, I'm now scrolling around with the touchpad on the controller that acts as the mouse. So a quick bit of gameplay. So first thing we've got to do, obviously play Call of Duty Mobile. And this, as you'd expect, will work perfect. You may need to adjust the settings a little bit on the likes of this, turn them down, but that's the same for most Samsung phones until you get to the Ultra ones. And then another great game, which I've recently picked up for 10p for absolute bargain, was Wreckfest. And again, this plays absolutely brilliantly. No slowdown, the graphics look impressive, and it plays absolutely perfect with your controller and on the big screen. The performance is great for mobile titles and surprisingly smooth for such a tiny setup. With regards to the display resolution, so straight out of the box, if we go into settings, we go to the Samsung DeX, and then you go to the resolution bar, you've got two settings. So apparently there's a way to adjust this, so you need to go onto the Galaxy Store and download this app, Good Lock. And then what you need to install is Multi-Start, and then once it's installed, click on I love Samsung DeX, and in here you can change to higher resolutions. Now apparently when you restart the Samsung DeX, it will give you other resolutions. Unfortunately, it's not worked for me. I've tried it on different displays, and everything I try it on, I still get the same too. So something I may look into more in the future, but for the moment, I'll settle for 1080p. Next thing we should be using it for is a media player. So you can have your own media center set up, so Jellyfin or Plex, and then you can play your films onto your big screen. If there's an Android app, you can install it and you can play it through the DeX. So as you can see, playback's really good. Depending on your screen quality, it'll depend on the picture. I've also installed Amazon Prime, so I can watch anything through my Amazon Prime account onto the screen. And as I said before, playback's pretty good. A lot of it will depend on your internet speed. Just get yourself a nice wireless keyboard and mouse, and then you will very rarely have to go and make contact with it. And now using it as a desktop replacement. So again, through Android, you can download Word, you can download Excel. It helps if you've got paid accounts. These all run fully perfect as you'd expect. And then you've got your full web browsers, so you can do your full searching, and then obviously we'll go onto YouTube, and then you'll look for your favourite YouTuber, hopefully me, and then go through, open up the latest video, and give it a watch. So shutting it down can be a little bit temperamental. Because it's got a battery, if you just unplug it, it's going to stay on. So the best way I've found is to go to Exit DeX in the left hand corner. It'll take you to this phone screen, and then just scroll up to the top and then click on the power button. So just like your mobile phone, it shows your screen, and then we can shut it down this way. Obviously you could just leave it so the battery runs out, but it's going to be running in the background, so it's best to do this. So a few little quirks I've had so far. So sometimes when I've plugged the mains in and it's turned itself on, nothing displays on the screen. I found by unplugging the mains, as long as the battery power, it will then display. Once it's done that, you can plug it back in. Another one, you'll boot it up as normal from the battery and you don't get anything on the display. Simply unplugging the HDMI and plugging it back in, then shows something on the screen. Also, going back to the first issue, be wary of the battery running completely down. So if you run the battery out and then it doesn't display on the screen, you can't unplug the power lead to get the screen on because it needs power. So if this happens, you're going to have to leave it plugged in for around about 10 minutes to get a little bit of charge into the battery so you can unplug it, get the screen on, and then plug it back in. There may be ways around these quirks, but because I've used DeX a lot in the past, I'm not quite sure what they are, but it's just a case of using it more and discovering what you can and can't do. So there are two builds you could go for here. So you go for the easy version, where you basically just plug a USB-C hub into a phone, pop it in a box, and then you've got your DeX PC. Or you go for this version, where you fully strip it down, you've got next to nothing in there, it looks very bare bones, but you also feel like you've achieved a little bit more. So hopefully you enjoyed the video, hopefully you've realised what a Samsung DeX PC phone can do. In my next video, I'm going to do a full build guide. I'm going to pop all the links in the description for what you need, and then you can follow along and build your own. So if you've ever needed a reason to subscribe, then surely that's it. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Please give a like, comment, and make sure you subscribe for the follow-up so you know how to build your own. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.